There was a rule in the ocean that you don't need to run when you meet a shark because it can't run at all. It is 10 meters long and weighs 4 tons. It is the top predator of the mudsprayed. The ancient biologists found that the structure of the shark's body is designed for killing. The strong tail fins of the streamlined shell mean that it has a strong, explosive power. But speed is not the most terrible thing. The most terrible thing is its bite force. In 2006, the team of the ancient biologist Anderson of Chicago University used a computer to simulate the biting force of a cod. The result showed that it was 8,000 pounds per square inch. What is the concept of this? It is 4 times stronger than modern big white shark, and even stronger than the Nile crocodile. It can bite through any creature in the ocean at any time. The key is that the fossil evidence shows that it will attack similar fish of similar size, including the ancestors of large-shaped fish and sharks. In 2013, Polish scientists found several dangfish and large-shaped fish remains in the same fossil layer, 056. This shows that it was indeed the dominant fish in the ocean at that time. So the question is, why did the top predator who ruled the ocean for 50 million years suddenly die at the end of the Nippon period? But before you solve the mystery of extinction, you have to know the shocking truth. In February 2023, a study published in a variety of magazines completely subverted our understanding of dangfish. Dr. Engelmann, a PhD student at the University of Keisei Shichu, used a new method of measurement to recalculate the size of dangfish. The result shocked the entire ancient biology world. The real length of dangfish is not 10 meters, but only 3.4 to 4.1 meters. You heard it right. Dangfish is only 4 meters long, which is shorter than a family sedan. But this is not good news, but the beginning of a nightmare, because scientists found that the weight of dangfish did not decrease due to the short length of its body. A 3-4 meter long dangfish weighs 950 to 1,200 kilograms, which is equivalent to a 4-6 meter long white shark. In other words, dangfish is not a long and thin predator, but a swimming destroyer. In April 2023, Engelmann published another study in PRJ magazine revealing a more terrible secret of dangfish. He found that the mouth of dangfish, as you said, is twice as big as the shark of the same size. A 4 meter long dangfish has a mouth width of 8 meters. What does this mean? It means that dangfish can attack prey far beyond its size. Let's talk about its weapon system first. Dangfish has no teeth, this is true, but its upper and lower ribs directly form 2 sharp bones, and the edges are as sharp as industrial scissors. According to a study published in Biological Express in 2007 by Chicago University, the biting force of dangfish reached an astounding 4,400 newtons. What does this mean? This is equivalent to a small car pressed in your mouth, and these 2 bones rub against each other every time they bite, making the edges sharper and sharper. It's like every time you use scissors, you're grinding it. What's more terrifying is the speed of its bite. In 2010, a study published in Psychology magazine found that dangfish uses a system called the 4-face system. Through this system, dangfish can complete mouth to nose in 20 to 60 milliseconds. It takes 150 milliseconds for humans to blink. In other words, you blink once and it has bitten you 2 or 3 times. But the real killing move is the pressure it produces when it opens its mouth. When dangfish opens its mouth at this crazy speed, vacuum suction force will form in front of the mouth for a moment. This suction force, 3-7, will suck in everything around it. A study published in 2007 said that this fast mouth-to-mouth mechanism is similar to the suction of modern fish. It can suck it into the mouth before the prey reacts. Besides, its defense system, dangfish's head and front body, are covered with bone armor, with a thickness of up to a few centimeters. The material of this armor is called real leather bone. It is hard, but the smartest designer said that the back part of its body has no armor and is covered with soft muscles. This kind of heavy and light design makes its mobility in the water outstanding. A study in 2023 also found a problem and surprising fact. Dangfish's body shape is not like a shark, but more like a golden spearfish. It has a rough body, a strong tail, and a streamlined body. What does this body design mean? It means that dangfish is an explosive hunter. It doesn't need to chase for a long time, but rely on the explosive power and huge mouth to kill the prey. And dangfish is all over the world, from northern America's Ohio to Belgium and Europe. From Morocco to Poland, almost all of the late seas of the dangfish have its fossil. The Cliffland Natural History Museum has the most and the highest quality dangfish fossil specimens. One of the biggest skulls is 60 to 70 centimeters long. But dangfish is not the only nightmare of dangfish. At that time, there were a group of equally terrible monsters in the ocean. There were also sea scorpions, also known as wide-tailed monkeys. The largest species is 2.5 meters long. They have huge claws that can break bones and may have poisonous tails. The most terrible thing is that these sea scorpions not only live in the sea, but can also climb ashore. In such an environment, how did your ancestors, the earliest four-legged animals, survive? The answer is, they learned to go ashore. In the late Nippon period, some fish began to try to climb land. They evolved strong thorns that can support the body, evolved the original lungs that can breathe air. These changes are not to conquer land, but to escape from the ocean. Because there are sea scorpions, wide-tailed monkeys, and sea scorpions in the ocean. Instead of waiting to die in the water, it is better to take risks and go ashore. In this way, your ancestors were forced to land. Every escape from death is engraved in their nervous system. These marks were passed down generation after generation and eventually became the primitive fear in your brain. So, how did the countless creatures and wide-tailed fish finally disappear? The answer is in the late Nippon period, 3.75 billion years ago. This period did not happen in an instant, but was formed by many disasters. It lasted for millions of years. Scientists found that the ocean was severely malnourished at that time, and a lot of algae died and decomposed, consuming the oxygen in the water. Wide-tailed fish need a lot of oxygen to maintain their body functions. The malnourished environment made it difficult for them to survive. Then, the climate changed. There is evidence that at that time, the Earth entered the Ice Age and the sea temperature dropped sharply. As a cold-blooded animal, the star formation of wide-tailed fish changed with the water temperature dropping. The ability to move was greatly reduced. A slow-moving predator would soon starve to death. The most fatal was the food chain collapse. The Nippon period caused about 50% of marine life to disappear. The source of food was drastically reduced, and according to fossil evidence, wide-tailed fish needed to feed on large prey. But large prey was the first of its kind in the Great Extinction. Under the three blows of lack of oxygen, low temperature, and hunger, wide-tailed fish, the overlord who ruled the ocean for 50 million years, about 3.59 billion years ago, the whole fish tank disappeared at the end of the Nippon period. No species survived to the Stone Age, but they didn't really disappear, because in those 50 million years, our ancestors, the earliest four-legged animals, were struggling to survive. Every escape from death left a mark in their genes. These marks traveled through 3.59 billion years and finally passed on to you. So, when you stand by the sea and feel a chill for no reason, don't feel weird. It's not that you're afraid. It's your ancestors in your DNA reminding you that 3.59 billion years ago, there was something. It doesn't need to be big. 4 meters long is enough. It doesn't need to be fast, as long as it's explosive. It only needs a mouth that's as big as its body and a skeleton that can bite through everything. In 2023, a scientific study told us that although the fish is not as long as we thought, it is still the most terrifying predator. It uses a smaller body shape, a higher voice range, a bigger mouth, and a stronger bite force to prove a truth. In an evolved arena, it's not important how big you are, but how cruel your weapons are. This is the true story of the fish, a history of fear, evolution, and survival, a legend rewritten with science.